So we've seen that Tocqueville's arguments against state welfare work for a welfare system that just gives on the condition of poverty, is permanent, and sets no other conditions but that you need it. And so those who object against his arguments say then, why don't we do these two things to reform welfare? One, why don't we only give to those whose poverty is not their choice? They, through their circumstances that they had no control over, became impoverished, but they wouldn't have been had they been allowed to have the right circumstances. So only give to those who deserve the aid. That's the first answer. Let's make our system like that. The second objection is, and if those who deserve this aid are able-bodied, they can work, they just can't find a job, then we should provide them work. This aid should be conditioned on work that they do for the state provides for them to do. And Tocqueville believes that any practical system of welfare won't be able to meet these demands with any high probability. Well, why? Well, think of this first thing. How am I, as a human judge, going to distinguish between those who deserve their poverty and those who don't deserve their poverty? I would have to know an awful lot, wouldn't I? For example, someone comes to me, a single mother, right? And obviously, as a single mother, she doesn't have any support. She needs to support her child, and she can't support it on the job that she has, even if she has a job, and she's just been kicked out of her job. Obviously, here's a fact. She's in need, and if she doesn't get help, then she and her children are going to go without, and perhaps will starve. Do I know her character? As a government worker, am I going to have the ability to have a system that sets this detailed investigation system that might take years to know what kind of person she is and whether she's the one who put herself in those circumstances? I would have to know a lot about her character, wouldn't I? And then I would have to know how that character combined with her circumstances to produce this situation. Who will you get in such a system with so much talent, with so much prescience, supernatural knowledge to be able to do something like that? Hardly anybody. And here's the fact, though. The fact is, she's in need, isn't she? And she's in urgent need. Here's another fact that you know, that you as the administrator of this government program, you're not giving directly out of your pocket, are you? You're giving money that's the government's giving. And so you're not going to feel the pain of giving that money directly. So you are administering money that you will feel no pain in giving. You know for certain that she's in need and that if you don't give, then at least she's going to starve. And then you have the problem of dependence, don't you, here with the single mother? If you don't give to her, then there are certainly people who are undeserving of their poverty that will, even if she's deserving, suffer because of her, and that is her children. And so, thus, what you were unclear about is whether she deserves this aid or not, but you're clear that she needs it and that you're not going to suffer by giving it per se. So what's the choice? Well, the obvious choice if you're the average person in this administration, if you're a bureaucrat in welfare, is to grant the aid. So it's hardly likely that you're going to really have an ability to distinguish on a large scale who deserves it and who doesn't. Most likely those who don't deserve it are going to get it, and it's going to be most of those people. But then you have a second problem. Let's say we could solve that problem of desert. The question is, can we actually make it work? Right? In other words, can we make the able-bodied work? So we have now this rule that if you get aid and you have to get a job or you have to work for the government and the government's going to provide that work. But can local municipalities really have enough work to put all of their indigent to work? Is there always going to be enough work? And what do you do when there isn't? Because it would have to be the responsibility of the local government. Because the federal government couldn't run such a program because they wouldn't have enough knowledge and they wouldn't have the resources to put it together on the ground. So you would need local government doing it, which would mean you create another problem. The problem is you can only service residents. So then you have another problem. And that is the problem of, let's say you can find enough work. Who manages this system? Again, let's be realistic. A great deal of the people you're going to be managing are going to be people who are the laziest segment of society, the least successful, the least likely to do a good job. That's why they don't have work many times. Many of them will have addictions. Many of them will have other problems, mental problems. They will have family problems, health problems. All of these things will go into it. And therefore, you're going to have to find someone who's able to put the least able to work to doing good work. Otherwise, you're wasting the government's money. And you're probably not going to be able to pay this manager all that much, are you? So they're going to have to do it out of pure duty and courage and selflessness. How many people are you going to be able to get to do that? And so, it follows that it is highly unlikely that even with the highest ideals and the most reasonable way of regulating this money, that practically speaking, you're going to be able to limit those who receive the aid to only those who deserve it. Or that even if you can limit it to that, that you're going to be able to set all the able-bodied to work and manage it in such a way that the system doesn't break down to a corrupt one where it looks like they're working, but in reality, they're just paperworking, if you know what I mean. In other words, the manager just puts down that they're working so that they can satisfy the higher-ups in the bureaucracy. Always a problem with government programs. So, he says, in the end, a system that's actually going to work and perpetuate is going to be a system that can't do any of these to any practical, successful way.